On Global TV News Express, National Economic Council constitutes Tinubu Legacy Project Committee, sets high growth agenda. In business, federal government introduced industrialization policy to boost manufacturing. And on the foreign scene, United Nations Security Council holds emergency meeting on deadly protest in Iran. And in sports, Confederation of African Football unveils eAFCON, expands into esports. Hello and welcome to all of you in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Ubong Osoro. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. The National Economic Council, NEC, has approved the constitution of a committee to oversee the implementation of President Bola Tinubu's directive on the actualization of his administration's legacy projects, particularly the Lagos-Calabar and the Sokoto-Badagry coastal highways. The resolution was reached at the 156th NEC meeting, the first of the year, held virtually. A statement signed by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communication, Office of the Vice President Stanley Nwokacha, said the Council also resolved to deepen engagement with stakeholders to boost non-oil revenues in line with the economic blueprints of the Tinubu's administration. Nigeria stood in solemn reflection as the country honored its fallen heroes at the 2026 Armed Forces Celebrations and Remembrance Day, marked by an emotional parade and wreath-laying ceremony at the National Arcade in Abuja. Defense correspondent Kike Lomo-Okere brings details.
At the National Arcade in Abuja, silence filled the air as memories of sacrifice and service took center stage. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was represented by the Vice President Kashim Shettima, led the country in paying tribute to officers and men of the Nigerian Armed Forces who paid the ultimate price in defense of the nation. The ceremony began with laying of wreath, first by the Vice President on behalf of the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, followed by leaders of the National Assembly and the Judiciary, service chiefs, veterans, and families of the fallen heroes. A minute of silence followed as prayers were offered for the repose of the souls of the departed and for peace, unity, and security across the country. In a deep symbolic moment, white pigeons were released by the Vice President into the sky, representing peace, hope, freedom, and nation's collective prayers that the sacrifice of the fallen heroes will lead to lasting unity and security in Nigeria. As the pigeons soared, many in attendance watched in quiet reflection, some holding back tears. The solemn mood then transitioned into the military parade as the contingent of the Nigerian Army, Navy, and Air Force marched with discipline and precision. A powerful reminder that the spirit of the fallen lives on through those still in service. For families of the fallen heroes, the ceremony was both painful and proud, a national acknowledgement that their loved ones are remembered and honored. As the last-minute salute was rendered, Nigeria renewed its vows never to forget the courage, sacrifice, and service of its fallen heroes. Kike Lomo-Okere, Global Television News.
State has joined the rest of the nation to honor Nigeria's fallen heroes as Governor Hyacinth Alia announced scholarships for the children of deceased soldiers and financial support to widows of military personnel who paid the ultimate price in defense of the country. Governor Alia made the announcement at the 2026 Armed Forces Remembrance Day and celebration at the IBB School in Makurdi, where he described the military as the backbone of the peace currently being enjoyed in the state. Felicity Ndere, Benue State correspondent, completes the story.
Under a clear Makurdi sky, military formations, veterans and security agencies assembled at the IBB Square for a solemn but a colorful ceremony to mark the 2026 Armed Forces Remembrance and Celebration Day. Governor Hyacinth Alia reviewed the Guard of Honor, commending the bravery and discipline of Nigeria's defenders, and laid a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldiers in tribute to those who gave their lives in service to the nation. Speaking after the ceremony, Governor Alia announced educational scholarships for the children of the fallen soldiers and financial support for widows, reaffirming his administration's commitment to those left behind.
Because for some time back we were in the headlines of news for wrong reasons, the insurgencies and the attacks. It is peace is relatively returned to the state. And I thank God, I thank the federal government, I thank our president for his resilience and continued support to our state. So it is now left to all of us to sustain this freedom, and they gave this to us, the platter of gold with their lives.
Families of the fallen heroes were not left out.
We are from different homes. We carry different emblems at home. Some women cannot even fend for their children. So we want the government to get closer to us, just as the governor of Benue State has promised, so that when he empowers us, we'll be able to help our families.
There's no community in Nigeria here. You will not find an ex-serviceman. So Nigerian Legion stand the best position of securing this country. All these security challenges, if Nigerian Legion is to be involved, properly involved, engaged.
As Nigeria reflects on the courage of its armed forces, today's ceremony served as a reminder that the path to lasting peace lies in unity, sacrifice, and unwavering support for those who stood on the front lines. In Makurdi, Felicity Ndere, reporting for Global Television News.
Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma has announced fresh financial support to 600 million families of fallen security personnel as Nigeria marks the Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day. The governor says security remains a core mandate of his administration 6 years after assuming office. Our correspondent Amarachi Ibe brings us the report.
Imo State joins the rest of the country to mark the Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day with a ceremony held at the NDBC Carlo Square in Owerri. Governor Hope Uzodinma says the day is set aside to honor officers and men of the armed forces who paid the supreme price in defense of the country. Speaking at the event, the governor announces a new tranche of financial support for families of fallen servicemen and women who lost their lives securing the state.
We will not wait for tomorrow to show that we care for those who gave everything for our peace. Today, we'll be handing out here on this ground the sum of 600 million naira to the families of our fallen heroes.
The governor commended President Bola Tinubu for restructuring the nation's security architecture and strengthening the fight against terrorism and other forms of insecurity, as he called on young people in Imo State to enlist in the armed forces and other security agencies, warning that failure to do so could affect the state's future representation in the security sector.
I must therefore at this point commend our President and Commander-in-Chief, His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for his decisive action in rejigging our national security architecture by going all out to confront insecurity and designating all non-state armed groups as terrorists.
The ceremony features rock-laying, prayer for peace and security in the country, and other symbolic activities in honor of fallen and service personnel. From the NDBC Carlos Square in Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
Meanwhile, Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State has marked his 6th year in office and the second anniversary of his second tenure with a Thanksgiving Mass at Government House Chapel, Owerri. The service was presided over by the Catholic Archbishop of Owerri, Ecclesiastical Province, His Grace Most Reverend Lucius Ogoji. Again, Amarachi Ibe reports.
It is the moment of thanksgiving and reflection as Governor Hope Uzodinma, alongside top government officials, political leaders, clergy, and other invited guests, gathered at the Government House Chapel, Owerri, to mark 6 years of his administration. The special Thanksgiving Mass also marked the second year of the governor's second tenure in office. Presiding over the Holy Mass, Catholic Archbishop of Owerri Ecclesiastical Province, His Grace Most Reverend Lucius Ugoji, in his homily, commended the governor's leadership as he enumerated laudable projects of the governor in the state.
Your Excellency, we likewise wish to commend your administration for the remarkable improvements in the security situation in the state, which made it possible for many people to travel to their villages during the last Christmas celebrations.
We are firmly convinced that with time, the roads leading to the rural communities in the state would also have rehabilitated to promote social and economic activities.
In his anniversary address, Governor Uzodinma thanked God for guidance, protection, and wisdom over the years. The governor says his administration will continue to consolidate on gains already recorded in infrastructure, security, economic development, and adds that rebuilding Imo requires a collective effort.
I'll do my best to the ability of what a man can do to encourage a smooth succession so that there will be peace in Imo State. I will do my best to implement and encourage Oyeri Maneya area. But you must know that it must be one man at a time.
The event highlights the governor's position that leadership is both a privilege and a responsibility to be guided by accountability and service to the people of Imo State. From Government House Chapel, Owerri, Amarachi Ibe reporting for Global TV News.
Proper sanitation and environmental hygiene have been identified as critical in preventing the spread of Lassa fever. Dr. Aisha Ladam Musa of the Federal Medical Center Abuja made this known in an exclusive interview with Global Television, emphasizing that the best protection remains simple hygiene and public awareness. Zahra Nasi gives us more details.
Lassa fever is an acute viral illness and hemorrhagic fever caused by the Lassa virus. It is endemic to parts of West Africa, particularly Nigeria, Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. The virus is primarily transmitted to humans through contact with the urine or feces of infected multimammat rats or through direct contact with an infected person's bodily fluids. Dr. Aisha Ladam Musa of Federal Medical Center Abuja explained that raising community awareness and educating people on how the disease is transmitted remains essential strategies in reducing infections. The doctor said the greatest knowledge is knowing how to prevent Lassa fever, not just how to cure it.
The prevention goes beyond we individuals. It starts from awareness. Okay, so the most important thing in Lassa fever is community awareness. We have to inform educate the people on mode of transmission, the causal organism, and how it is transmitted from one to another. Because the greatest knowledge is how to prevent, is not how to cure. Yes, so outside that, also environmental and environmental factors also play a role, like sanitation.
In Abuja, some residents said they are already taking preventive measures by covering their food, maintaining good hygiene, and keeping rats away from their homes.
I know Lassa fever is a disease that causes harm to the human immune system. By making sure you're staying in a clean environment, because it's being transmitted by rats. So if you're living in an environment that is very dirty, they would easily have access to your environment, and then they would easily...
I know it's a disease caused by rodents that comes out of rats and it's related from the rat class. Avoiding deaths, because they come around deaths, they come, and when the time they also come around deaths, they feed on your food that you keep in your kitchen or wherever on your dining, and then you also have to also protect yourself from your dispenser.
I know it's one of the deadly fever that keep people fast, and I know it's introduced from rats. We're not keeping our food very well. We're not covering our food store or other things.
Public health issues pose a huge challenge in Nigeria, putting more pressure on the country's already overstretched healthcare systems. However, the outbreak of Lassa fever has further complicated the situation. Zahra Unasir, reporting for Global TV News.
You're watching the live broadcast of News Express. The News Express continues after this weather forecast for business, foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please do stay with us. In business, Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, has called for urgent collective action to fix the nation's food security challenges, warning that agriculture must move from the margins to the center of Nigeria's development strategy. Speaking at the annual general meeting of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, AFAN, in Abuja, the Deputy Speaker stressed that unity among farmers, government and private sector is critical to transforming Nigeria's agricultural sector. National Assembly correspondent Anita Patrick completes the report.
Addressing the forum, Kalu described agriculture as a powerful tool for job creation, economic stability and youth retention, noting that productivity gains in farming directly translate into national stability. He urged farmers to organize better, adopt modern technology, and increase productivity, while challenging government at all levels to engage more deliberately with agricultural stakeholders.
Organize, enhance technology, increase your productivity. You are not asking for charity. You are building wealth and building a nation. Demand the infrastructure and services you deserve.
The Deputy Speaker also called on state governments to back their commitment with funding, recommending that at least 5% of states' budgets be allocated to agricultural infrastructure, driven by data and accountability. He did not spare the private sector, urging investors to take bold risks in processing, logistics, and market systems, while working with smallholder farmers as partners rather than vendors.
This is my charge to the state government. Allocate at least 5% of your budget to agricultural infrastructure. Implement the market mapping framework we have pioneered. Use data to target investments. Hold yourselves accountable for agricultural outputs and job creation in your states.
The Deputy Speaker stressed that Nigeria already has the resources, policies, and partnerships needed to achieve food security, but lacks unified will. With rising food prices and growing concerns over food access, the call places renewed pressure on stakeholders to move from rhetoric to results in securing Nigeria's agricultural future. Anieti Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
On the foreign scene, Uganda's opposition leader, Bobi Wine, says he would call for protest if President Yoweri Museveni rigs this week's election. Wine also stated that it would be welcome an intervention by the United States, acknowledging that protests are likely to provoke more crackdown. Uyi Agbomofwegbe has the rest of the story.
Voting had yet to start in many areas after polls were due to open, as biometric machines used to verify voters' identity were malfunctioning and ballot boxes undelivered. President Museveni is widely expected to win a 7th term in office thanks to his total control of the state and security apparatus. Bobi Wine, on his part, has also said the ongoing internet shutdown is a deliberate attempt to allegedly facilitate rigging.
As we hold our general elections in Uganda, the world should be reminded that we are holding elections in the dark. The internet has been switched off across the country. This is done in order to facilitate the intended rigging of the regime. Otherwise, why would the people of Uganda be denied the right to communicate, and why the Ugandan election should be held in the dark?
More than 20 million people have registered to vote in the East African country, with 81-year-old Museveni widely expected to continue his 4-decade rule. His main opponent is singer-turned-politician Bobi Wine, 43, real name Robert Kyagulanyi, who is taking a second run at the presidency after his 2021 campaign was met with violent repression and alleged rigging. Uyi Agbomofwegbe, reporting for Global TV News.
Sports. The Confederation of African Football, CAF, has unveiled eAFCON, a digital version of the Total Energies African Cup of Nations, marking the organization's first foray into esports. CAF says the initiative is a key part of its commercial strategy, developed in partnership with Konami through the game eFootball, and aims to engage young fans with diversifying revenue streams. The continental body describes eAFCON as a significant step in African esports ecosystem, signaling a bold expansion of the African football into the gaming world. As Global Television News Express comes to an end, here's a recap of our top stories. The National Economic Council, NEC, has approved the constitution of a committee to oversee the implementation of President Bola Tinubu's directive on the actualization of his administration legacy projects, particularly the Lagos-Calabar and Sokoto-Badagry Coastal Highway. In business, we told you that the federal government has introduced the industrialization policy, an initiative designed to drive value addition, industrial growth and employment across the country. On the foreign scene, the United Nations Security Council has held an emergency meeting to discuss deadly protests in Iran amidst threats by United States President Donald Trump to intervene militarily in the country. And in sports, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has unveiled eAFCON, a digital version of Total Energies African Cup of Nations, marking the organization's first foray into esports. And that's it on News Express. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now shown on your screen using @GlobalTVNG. I am Ubong Usoro. Bye for now.